What's up guys, it's Rowan here from AOSTV. And when I was in high school, I had to play the clarinet, and I played it in an orchestra. And whenever we had a major performance coming up, I'd get out my pieces that I was expected to play and I'd practice them, right? But the difference that I'd often do is that I'd identify parts that I was just making mistakes at. I wasn't hitting the note or I wasn't getting the pace right, and I'd just focus on those areas. So I wouldn't play the entire song just because that'd take a lot of time. I'd focus on the key couple of areas that I sucked at. The key areas that I knew that I was probably likely to screw up in the performance, and I didn't want to do that because it would sort of wreck it for everyone. And so I'd focus on these key areas and I'd focus on it and I'd nail it. And then once I'd sort of got it right, I'd then build up and add the rest of the song to that piece of area, the piece of the song that I was not doing well at, so that I could then play the entirety properly, right? So this was the approach for music. But I think, we sort of intuitively, I think, get this. We do it in music and we do it in sport. We know that to get better at something, we've got to identify the weak areas and just focus on it like crazy. But my question for you is that what you do for school? Right? Is that what you do for your approach for study? So we intuitively know that whenever we're learning, a sport or a musical instrument, that we need to focus on our weak areas to get better, right? We just do it. Intuitively, we get it. But it's really interesting, when it comes to school, we throw this out the window. We forget about this principle. And here's perhaps good evidence of that. Right now, when you come home from school and, you've got some food and you've chilled out for a bit and you're sitting down to start doing your study, what's the first stuff that you work on? Now, I'm willing to take a bet, or I'm willing to take $100 bet that the first stuff that you work on is the easy stuff. Like, it's the stuff that you're sort of already comfortable with, but in your head you're like, I'm just gonna warm up and just start with this easy stuff. But as we know from sport or music, that's the worst thing that you could be doing because it's just wasting your time. You need to focus on your weak areas. That's really, really critical. It's counterintuitive, but it's important. So when you sit down to study, we've got to look at, okay, how can you focus on your weak areas first? So guys, the key is you've got to focus on weak areas. Just like, when you were playing your musical instrument or sport, you'd focus on those weak areas. You've got to have the same approach. And one of the simplest ways you can do this is to go through your entire syllabus and identify with a red pen all of the areas that you would rate as red. That you look at it and you go, crap, I'm stuffed, I don't know anything about it. And then highlight the stuff that's yellow, which is like, yeah, it's okay. And then highlight the stuff that's green, which is stuff that you know. We call it the traffic light system. And the focus here is you want to look at the red areas and you don't want to just do it once. Because when I was practicing that song for clarinet, I didn't just practice the area I sucked at once. I did it multiple times. That's really, really important. So I want you to find those red areas and then get practice questions and do them multiple times to make sure that you're doubling down on that weak area. In fact, I want you to think of that as a mantra. Double down on your weak areas. So in conclusion, guys, the way to get better is to focus on your weaknesses and to double down on them. I'd love to hear how you've done this in your own study in the comments below. Leave a comment, and of course, as always, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. We're bringing videos every single week. I'll see you next week.